Nico Iamaleava's NIL value seemed to be tanking on the open market when it came out on Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday about where he was looking. We had heard Tulane, we had heard UCLA, we had heard North Carolina, we had heard USC, we had heard a few of these schools had pulled out of the sweepstakes, most notably Tulane. Well, reportedly this morning, according to On3, he's entered the transfer portal with a do not contact tag, according to Pete Nakos, which a do not contact tag generally signals, I already know where I'm going. Nobody talk to me. So
okay,
what do we make of this?
Well, I don't think it's that. The do not contact tag, is that like on his Twitter? Is this a function of the transfer portal? Is this on his Twitter account or what?
It's basically on the On3. I don't know exactly where you put the label, but the official do not contact tag is somewhere in the ether, basically. And it's on his tag and On3, but basically, yeah, it basically means do not contact.
I don't think he knows where he's going. He might. That's one possibility. What about this possibility? Nick's a control freak. The dad just likes to run everything. Don't call me, I'll call you. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility.
No, that's actually true. And in the context of the transfer portal, it can actually mean that. It can also mean that Nico will not be handling any communication. Nico's representatives will be handling all communication. So it either means he's picked the school, or it means that he's not responsible for any communication his representatives are.
If you can pull up his Twitter page real quick, I'm curious what it says there, because he blocked me. Quality Tire Pros, serving Chattanooga's community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive, brake alignments, oil changes, and more. QualityTirePros.com. QualityTirePros.com. Tell Bo at Quality Tire Pros that Dave Hooker and Off the Hook Sports said, hey, Bo, what's the latest thing he's tweeted?
Latest thing he tweeted was a retweet of Omar Norman Lott balling out in the Senior Bowl back in January. He hasn't really been active on Twitter recently. Now, as far as Nick Iamaleava, I don't think he's tweeted anything since he called Pete Nakos B-word Nakos. And so what do we think? Do we think Nico has a school, or do we think this is about Nick telling people don't contact Nico, contact me?
Okay, I'll go bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC, life made better. I feel pretty strongly on this one. Bank on it.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank.
All right, I'm going to bank on it with this, and that I didn't mean to pull that up. I'm going to bank on it with this. Nico will make less money than he was going to make at Tennessee, significantly less. I'll go ahead and say he'll make $1 million less. I think he'll make $1.5 million or less. He was making 2.5 at Tennessee. Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC, life made better.
I agree. I think he's going to make less too. And I'm going to take it a step further. This is proof. This is why you need actual agents, and Nico's dad totally doesn't know what he's doing. Here's what I think is really happening, Dave. I think Nick Iamaleava fell victim to rumors of other quarterbacks paid on social media without any proof of what they were actually getting paid. Most notably, I think I don't believe Carson Beck's getting paid $4 million to go to Miami. I don't. I think that's a social media rumor. I don't believe he's actually getting paid that. I think Nick Iamaleava saw that on Twitter and thought Nico Iamaleava can get that too. If Carson
Beck's, it wouldn't surprise me if Carson Beck's making that money, because you'd have to say he's one of the top quarterbacks in the nation because of his team success, not necessarily his play. And I could see Miami being top heavy in what they offer, trying to get one splash player, because nearby they've got a ton of athletes that can fill out their roster. So I didn't have a problem with that. I'd be surprised if he's not making more than 2.5, which is the top end of what we think Nico is making.
But I think Nick Iamaleava didn't do his research at all on how much Carson Beck's actually making. I think he's reading news reports, and he's going based on that. And so this is where I'm landing. And so I'm with you. He's not going to make $2 million. He's not going to make 2.5. It's going to be to $1 to $1.5 million. And it could be less than that. Look, let's talk about what you and I were talking on the phone yesterday, Dave. He had Tulane in his list of schools. There's no way, if he's not desperate, that Tulane is in his list of schools.
No. And really, there's been a lot of UCLA talk, but UCLA, in terms of comparisons to Tennessee, that's a step down significantly. The only tie they have is they're a hometown school. Listen, UCLA is about to get left in the dust. That's going to happen. And he's going to go someplace and make half the money and lose twice as many games this season and not be nearly as happy. I can't help but feel sorry for him. Sorry. And by the way, a comment on our message board, you're absolutely right. The agent should have to pass a test. They do for the NFL and other professional sports leagues, but they don't in college football right now. SC Scout guy has a good idea. Tennessee should go after Jaden Rashada, ultimate redemption story. That's not a bad idea.
One. I'm going to do a post today on the transfer portal quarterbacks Tennessee could target, and we'll talk about that later in the week. But Jaden Rashada is not a bad one. As far as Dave, here's the thing. Let's talk about all right, I'm not trying to fully character assassinate Nico Iamaleava's father, but we know that he's misplayed things and really jeopardized his son's pro potential.
We've already traveled down that path, Caleb.
Yes.
I mean, it is what it is. He's tweeting. He has his own voice. We're not hearing it through sources. He's a jackwagon.
Yes, he is. Let's tell this story. Are we sure he's costing Nico money, or is he costing himself money? Are we sure he's not just taking that money from Nico for himself?
Probably.
I mean, I just want to put out there, are we sure that Nick Iamaleava is not collecting most of the money he's negotiating for Nico for himself? And maybe the reason he's doing all this, how about this? Let me throw this out there. Maybe the reason he's doing all this and jeopardizing Nico's NFL future is because this is his best chance to take the money for himself. Once Nico goes pro, that's Nico's money, and he knows that he can't take much of it. I mean,
it's viewed as family money. I've seen this before with like travel baseball and stuff. I mean, you commit that much time and money to your son becoming this superstar, then I don't have a problem with you expecting some money back as long as the players kosher with it. I also don't think you should mess with his future and his career. You should sit back and let the checks come in. But you got a situation here where, and I didn't know about the heritage part of the Polynesian thing, that you're supposed to be incredibly loyal to the father and he's supposed to run the show. I don't know. I mean, I have trouble pointing fingers and knocking Nico for not being tough enough. If that's how he was raised from a social standpoint, a religious standpoint, that would be the equivalent to saying to a Christian, no, you don't have to live by the 10 commandments. You don't have to be saved. Jesus didn't die on the cross. I mean, this is deep-seated stuff, which just makes me feel more and more sorry for Nico, honestly.
It's also, and we don't even want to say, Polynesians are, Nico Iamaleava's family is as American, they're as deep-rooted as American as anybody else in this country. But there are certain segments, particularly of immigrant communities, less non-continental United States, continental United States, which is the 48 states, not Alaska and Hawaii. People that are only one or two generations removed from being in that, they typically, like you just said, it's much more about family money to build like a family, not a family wealth. And then once they get, and then after that, it's more individualized. Now, people are making a great point about UCLA. We're forgetting this. Nick Iamaleava forced his son Madden to transfer out of UCLA to go to Arkansas. So would UCLA take Nico at that point?
Probably not. He probably doesn't want him to go there. He's burned more bridges than Sherman going through the South.
He really has.
I mean, it's unbelievable how in just, what's he been on campus for 2.5 years? How many bridges he's burned, not just in Tennessee, but everywhere.
Well, David, here's the thing. I think it's getting known, and we're going to talk a little bit about coaches commenting on this, but I think the toxic nature of Nico and his father is known among coaches now, because let's be honest, tampering's happening in college football all over the place. Dan Lanning's getting a lot of respect for telling Tennessee about what Nico did. I think the reason Dan Lanning did that, though, is Dan Lanning knows about Nico's family and wants nothing to do with them anyway. So this is a way for him to buy goodwill. Like, do you think he's doing this if there's a quarterback he wants that's tampering with Oregon?
No. I'll tell you this too. Timothy, thanks for the super chat. We're not going to pull that up because you got kind of a graphic term there. But thank you. That'll go to Caleb Calhoun's son, Quincy Calhoun's college fund. Jimmy said something that made me light up a little bit. I think this may be more agent driven, because an agent makes 5%. Okay. So let's say he's making, let's say to make the math easy, he's making $100,000. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's 3%. So it could be $60,000 off a $2 million contract. I could see the aggressiveness from an agent to go all in. I might lose this $50,000 for this upcoming year, but I could gain $200,000 if I get him a big raise. So, Caleb, I could see that. Whereas Nico and Nick are looking at it, hey, we're bringing home 95%. We don't want to risk that. I could see it getting out of Nick's control.
I mean, this is what we just talked about, the problem with agents. And as we talked about, agents aren't certified. And if this agent's not like certified or passed the test, he's not going to be an NFL agent. So he doesn't really care about what Nico's doing to his NFL value by doing this. It's all about what Nico can get him on the college level. You're absolutely right about this. And this is where, I mean, at what point, Dave, are college athletes going to get at some point, you got to find an agent coming out of high school that will stick with you through your college and NFL career, because then he has the incentive for your whole future, right?
Not just that's what Spire Sports was going to be. I thought they were going to try to evolve into a professional sports agency.
I could see that too. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. And look, this is going. Nico's team is still, by the way, insisting that they have options, that they're pretending to have options, but I think we're kind of getting out there that they don't really have options. And like, as much as if you're Nico Iamaleava, as much trust as you have in your father, at what point when you're not playing this year because nobody will take you, do you say, that's it, I got to think about my future, you're screwing me? And I mean, I get what people talk about with the Polynesian culture and things like that, but that's a lot of cultures, by the way. It's not just like, there's so many cultures. I mean, hell, David,
there's not a culture where you say stick it to your dad.
Yeah, there's not a culture where you just ignore your dad. So we're saying this is like a cultural thing, and it's like, no, in most, I mean, that it's funny you brought up the 10 Commandments. That's one of the commandments, funny enough, honor your father and your mother. So it's like there's a lot of cultures that are, you listen to your parents and you let them think about what's best for you. But the other part of the culture is, whatever culture you're in, is once you're an adult, you make decisions for yourself. Nico's 19, turning 20. His dad is screwing him now. I agree with you. I mean, the simplest terms on this is he's going to make less on the open market.
Oh, he's going to make 50% less.
Yes. I mean, and he's going to he's torching his NFL draft stock at the same time.
I don't think NFL coaches will have as big of a problem with it as you do. Portions of the program brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. RickTerryJewelry.com, RickTerryJewelry.com. And I say that because I think NFL coaches are egotistical, and I think they could take anybody. Tony Mandrich, maybe before your time, offensive lineman, played for Michigan State. He was like 320 pounds, juiced up on steroids, could do everything. He was on the front of Sports Illustrated, was a total bust. But if you had that sort of talent, NFL coaches believe in you because they believe in themselves, probably to a fault.